Hey guys, I'm on here just getting ready to do a little bit of drawing. Gonna hop on my Pinterest page, which you guys can't see, but I'm actually gonna be taking Graphic Novel Pro, which is an SVS class that is hosted by Jake Parker, and I'm excited about that. And so I'm gonna start practicing a little bit just to give myself the opportunity to feel a little more prepared. There are lots of great artists in the class, and one of the things that I really need to work on is character art, character design. So I'm going to be working on one of my characters named Caden. I believe I'll be trying that out here. So want to draw them from several different angles if at all possible. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now, and I'm just gonna do just some basic stuff. I've worked out a little bit of what he looks like over the years, but I am so inconsistent. So yeah, we're just gonna try and get a little bit more consistency in there. He's a blonde-haired kid when we start the story, probably about 11, 12, probably around in that area. So yeah, and all right, so I got my daughters has a friend over, and you may hear them singing some songs here as I'm recording this. I didn't know they were going to be coming up into this area, so it's kind of funny. Alright, that's interesting. Try some different things here. I'm looking at another artist's work, and they are fantastic. They've done quite a bit of studying, I can tell, and so they're very their anatomy looks really good. I like it. So we'll get there. Just gotta keep working, you know. It's hard. I'm really grateful to have this break in the action from working because I'm a full-time art teacher, K through 8 currently, and so I don't have a ton of time throughout the week to practice, which is really kind of the thing that I need to be doing, especially if I'm hoping to create a graphic novel at some point. Now, I have done a comic book before, and it was acceptable. Not profoundly amazing, but that's all right. I think sometimes it's better just to get going and do something and not be too much of a perfectionist. Even though it's important to get your chops. Is that how you say it? I don't know if you say it that way when it comes to art. I know it's a music kind of idea. Oh my, they're really singing. He looks like an old man there, which is kind of hilarious. So, yeah. It's interesting how just a few changes to your lines can totally impact the way the age of a person, or just it's very subtle things when it comes to the face. Like, he's younger, so if I square up the jaw, he loses that youthful feeling. And also, I want to stylize and get some of the fundamental shapes down for his face so that I can simplify. Like, that looks way too old for him at this stage in the game. Yep, but we keep returning to it. So, and I haven't been drawing him much. So the head shape is off. They're just things that don't feel right. And it's going to take me a little bit of time to get back into my memory of what he looks like or should look like. So there, that chin was poking out way too much there. So. And I'm okay stylizing him, making him a little bit more cartoonish, so to speak. I think I want a little bit of that playful vibe in his styling. So the other thing that he's missing is a lot of different emotion. Some of the stuff is very, see, how do I say, a little bit canned. Like, it just feels not super. Let's use some words. Let's say surprised. Let's do surprised. That immediately changed or helped me think about what the eyes should look like. It made me dilate the pupils and make them a little bit smaller when I thought about that. Now I'm going to need the mouth to be kind of gaping a little. Oh yeah, I like that a little bit better. Prefer that cut, that harder angle at the corner of the mouth. Kind of made a little more sense for this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, his face feels a little bit elongated here. So, and that mouth and jaw, they don't seem to. Not quite a fan of it yet, but that's all right. That's all right. He definitely looks surprised, but his mouth looks a little bit janky, like something he's chewing on some bubble gum or something. His cheek was all bulged out there. Oh my goodness, they're singing from songs from Stranger Things. I don't know if you can hear them. So I don't know if any of you guys are Stranger Thing fans, but we've definitely been hooked here and looking forward to the season finale tomorrow night. 2 hours, I believe. So it's getting good. It's been good the whole time. Now it is super creepy, so if that's not your thing, you probably won't like it. But it's just such a sweet homage, is that the right word, to the 80s. The time period that I am super fond of. Really enjoyed the 80s and all of the great music and products that came out, and just all of the different stuff that is just so symbolic of the 80s. I love all of that. So, and I think Stranger Things does such a phenomenal job of honoring just what it was like to grow up during the 80s. It was such a cool time to grow up. I loved being able to ride my bike anywhere, anytime. There was just it did not feel quite as dangerous. The danger in the world was definitely present, but at least where I grew up, I was protected from so much of what many had to deal with. I was out in little tiny town, no stoplights in my town. So everybody kind of knew everybody, and it just wasn't that much. Now we definitely tried to get into trouble, but it was a pretty tame childhood and fun, filled with really good memories. So had that Walkman. My very first album that I ever got was Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. And I played that on a boombox. And then on that boombox I was a Def Leppard fan, I was a Fresh Prince fan, even got into Tone Loc, and big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. So we just put those in the Walkman and we were good to go. Grateful Dead came a little bit later in the high school years. I became a little bit of a deadhead and just did a little bit of REM. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I forgot one thing about Caden's mouth. Yep, he's got that little boyish kind of slyness to it. Hopefully I can start to capture that. His hair looks so janky there. That is not happy. That is not the way. It should be like a little bit of a surfer boy kind of cut. So when people get introduced to Caden, he lives on a very small island. Kind of a fishing village sort of environment, and he's really good at riding his bicycle. So, one of the things they do on the island is they scavenge the waters for any flotsam they can find that might have some value. So that's one of the things. And then he's a courier. He kind of delivers things on the island, newspapers if they, when it's a delivery day for newspapers, but like he'll deliver food from the grocery market, from the fish market and stuff like that to different people within the various neighborhoods on the island. We're starting to get there. Not too bad. Let's see. And I've taken some like anatomy studies just doing the online thing, and if you've ever watched any of my conversations before about anatomy, I always have to plug Proko, the Stan Prokopenko. I think I'm saying that somewhat close to correctly. He just created, and I'm sure if you're into drawing at all, you've probably already watched his videos, but so impressed with the craftsmanship of the videos themselves, the value of the content, the fact that so much of it is free. I have paid for certain things, but so much of the content just to get started and to learn about human anatomy in such an in-depth way is fantastic. And I highly recommend it. I mean, to my students, whenever they ask me anatomy questions, I immediately say, listen, I can't help you the way there is better help out there for you. I am such a novice when it comes to this stuff, and so that's okay. I don't want to be a novice forever, though. I want to get to a point where I feel very comfortable drawing a variety of characters. I think, to me, that is such a key. It's so crucial, so important for drawing comics. And I know it's a weird time right now with AI, and so many people are just talking about how AI is going to take over and you're not going to even have artists anymore. And I think about that, and maybe there is some reality to that, and maybe there's a lot of reality to that. Maybe we as a profession would be obsolete, but there is something so satisfying about being able to communicate visually and quickly um, and in the moment. So being able to take vision and thought and storytelling, I want to be able to create stories. And AI is a powerful tool, and I don't even think we've really even scratched the surface of how powerful it is. But I was given a gift of being able to draw, and I don't think it's right for me to say, well, my gift no longer matters because of technology. I think that's a bad way to view it. I think if the technology can enhance and help, then that's fantastic. But I don't want to be replaced personally, and I don't want to feel replaced, and I don't want to allow the power of that technology to keep me from working and improving my craft. I don't see how that's a great strategy for me mentally. I don't think that's a healthy way for me to proceed or move forward. So it seems strange to some of my friends in the industry, in the arts industry, to even think about drawing a comic book now, because of how powerful AI is, and you can basically tell it what you're thinking and describe it in words, and then it will produce something that's so polished in just a matter of moments, seconds, really. And sure, it's not as reliable, maybe, for capturing the intention of what you picture. I think there's definitely a learning curve for how to communicate the AI to get what you want out of it. But I've used it. I've certainly used it in my creative process. It has sped up certain aspects of workflow, certainly. But at the end of the day, it wasn't able to produce the level of specificity that I needed. You just couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do. And at some point, it got to a point where I was spending more time trying to communicate to AI exactly what I needed. It was more efficient to actually produce the artwork to get what I wanted. Now, I'm sure that's going to change. There will be better models, better iterations. But then there's also, think about just the moral aspect of it. I mean, all AI is doing at this point is generating from what's already been created. So, what that means is somebody else created and influenced what AI is producing. And so then you start to realize, that's somebody else's work that AI is in essence harvesting, and certainly it's modifying it to produce something new, but it is basing everything off of what's already been made. So that's just a weird and interesting thing. And a friend of mine just sent me a video called Wood Nuts, I believe. A short film about 10 or 11 minutes long. Incredible little short film. Sci-fi, horror, kind of dystopian reality. And if you get a chance, I encourage you to check it out, because I think in the hands of creators that know how to use AI, you could produce just incredible content. But there's still something about storytelling that still matters and still necessary. It's so funny. I learned a long time ago that people default to their own appearance when they're drawing people. And it's so funny because I keep drawing his hairline like he's aging. And I'm like, I'm drawing me. Even though I'm not trying to, I'm not even thinking about me, I'm trying to focus on him and his features, and it's just, man, yeah. Oh, I got a big old chunk out of his head. That was meant to be the back part of his hair. Whew. Kinda rough sometimes, don't you know? You know, it's so easy as a teacher to encourage students not to give up and to not get down. I love going to class where I am reminded how challenging it is just to try again and to know that you're probably not going to be as successful as you want to be. It's a challenging place to be. It's so easy for me as a teacher because, um, what does it cost me to tell somebody don't give up? It doesn't cost me anything. But what I really want to do is remember what it's like to be in their shoes, to feel what they're feeling, to be frustrated, and certainly trying something new. That's going to just be a natural and normal part of the process, is feeling frustrated at what you're unable to do, even as you're trying and you're giving your best effort. My pencil sharpener is not working. What happened? There we go. Yeah, so I also want to take that into this process, is just remember this is what my students feel like. When I'm experiencing those tough days and the things aren't looking right and going the way I need them to go or want them to go. Woo-wee. I think. Let it go. Start singing some Elsa music here. Let it go. Let it go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I was not meant to be a singer. I also want to develop my own way of kind of breaking down the head, like the Lemaitre way or something. I can't remember that. I crammed my do right up into a drawing already. That was a bad starting place. Should start with the crown of the head so I have space instead of starting down with the shoulders. That's weird. I should have started like up here. It's okay to start with the shoulders, but when you're gonna position somebody in this space, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure why I did that. But I want to come up with my own way of shorthand language, visual language for crafting faces. And in order to do that, I have got to understand some pretty basic fundamental stuff, which I don't yet have in my toolkit. So, yeah. Every now and then you get a little fortunate in what you put down on the page, and you feel better about it than maybe the last 10 things you put down on the page. And then the key is, how do you repeat that? how do you study what it was that worked well and keep need him to be really focused. Okay, so that's going to change some of the... See, when you focus, you tend to furrow your brow a little bit, and your eyes narrow. Okay. One of the key things that I found really communicates a younger person is the neck. The width of the neck has so much, it communicates so much. When the neck gets a little bit skinnier, less muscular, then you have this youthful appearance. Even sometimes on a grown person, like an adult, when the neck is skinny, all of a sudden you change that dynamic. He's got like a little bit of a big head, and then it narrows down. So that's one of the key characteristics of him. I'm still not loving this page as a whole. There's still aspects of it that just seem very inconsistent. But that's all right. That's where we are today. And hopefully we get that worked out and we figure out what we can do. Don't like that either. So funny how just simple little angles change everything. Yep, there's nothing that can take the place of hard work, my friends. So that is just a must. And I got a lot to work on. So. Interesante. Let's see what else. One thing I might think about doing too is getting some photo reference material of a model that kind of looks like Caden. That might help me start to figure out some of those real important details to keep and That looks like an evil grin. Not really part of Caden's makeup. Got kind of big eyebrows, not quite that big, but light colored eyebrows. So they don't, like, they're big, but they don't take over too bad because of the softer color. Yeah, I've also noticed that when the neck tapers a little bit as it moves away from the head toward the body, that provides a little bit of a youthful feel too. Eh. I think the order in which I draw things will also become more important. Meaning, should I draw the eyes first? I mean, the eyes are the window to the soul, so maybe that is one of the key things that you want to get right. I'm thinking probably. But as far as anchored anatomy, eyes, the nose sometimes can be tricky because it's protruding out and it's less connected to the actual skull. It's just the distance from the skull is a little bit greater. The mouth can provide a lot of expression, but then it can also be misplaced very easily because the jaw moves and the way that it moves, the top of the mouth doesn't move, and those things. Now, the great thing about cartooning is you get to sort of exploit some of those expressions, and you don't always have to keep anatomy at the forefront of what you're doing. You can kind of lose a little bit on the anatomy side in order to gain expression to tell the story. But I don't want to leave anybody feeling like the anatomy is taking away from the story or distracting. So that's it's a bit of a challenge for sure. So, and I think for Graphic Novel Pro, what they're encouraging us to do is they're talking about, if you come away with 10 to 20 pages, which is not a full comic, that's going to be a successful thing. So I think what I've got to be careful is not to set my expectations so high. Like I'm not going to be able to produce the whole comic from my time here. What I will be able to do, though, is to learn a lot that I can then apply, which is fantastic. But I thought about doing a separate character. Besides the one that would actually be in my graphic novel, and then I thought, well, that's a lot of practice I could get drawing my main character if I do, even if it just becomes a side story. Just something that happens maybe on one of his delivery routes, like a little adventure maybe that doesn't really feed into the story, but could be just a day in the life of him on the island delivering things. How do you I think that might be a smart thing because it will give me the practice of drawing him in his everyday life. And that could be very helpful just to build my familiarity with him. Now, he does have friends. Caden's got friends. He's got Maya. He's got Remy, probably his best friend, is Remy. And I still haven't worked out how he's going to meet Maya. I know how he's going to meet Remy to a large extent. The story around how they meet has kind of been there from very early on in the writing process, but Maya is a unique character, and her backstory is such that if I don't treat it right and put the right amount of thought into how she steps in to the story, I think she's a character that's complex enough that I could burn myself by not giving her the proper attention she requires. So that's just something that's sort of there as well as I'm thinking about this. Yeah, one thing I noticed that also makes him look older, like right here, his hair is so high up on his forehead. It looks like he's got a receding hair, and he's not. He's young. He's got a full head of blonde hair, so this is not... I'm not doing him any favors by aging him. Sorry, buddy. You're looking rather old today. That's a little bit better look of it, but he does have the shorter hair in the back. So I had a friend growing up in the 80s, 90s, really, probably more than the 80s, because this was high school, and he had a haircut that it captures some of the personality of Caden. His exact haircut is not what Caden's hair is going to ultimately look like, but he had a kind of a surfer boy vibe to him, I guess, and that is certainly hopefully going to come through in the final renderings of Caden. So his hair goes up, but then it crashes like a wave off to the side. On either side, he's got a lot of hair, and then it's kind of shaved on the side or really short on the side. So, yeah, hopefully that'll pan out. His neck got way too thin over here. He's like a completely different character there. Yeah, I'm not loving that, but that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I honestly think that drawing the mouth before the nose helps me place the nose a little bit better. Like there, I did the nose first, and it's just... I don't know, it just helps me kind of... The eyes coming up. Ooh, he looks depressed right there. Give him a little bit more. A little more sus. My daughter hates it when I use the word sus and riz. It's all the rage. It's what all the kids are saying, man. That's the other thing I have to remember about youthful appearance is that this line from the brow to the cheekbone to the jawline to the chin, it tends to be a lot smoother when I start to pop in these angles, it just makes them look less youthful, more aged, and yeah, gonna have to get there, man. Gonna have to get there. I gotta say, this is a honkin' good challenge for me. No, I liked it better with the open eyes looking down, like he's kind of eyeing something down here. Yeah, and less big on the pupil can be kind of small. The iris needs to also be small. I was drawing that way too big. Yeah, that's cool. Like looking out and seeing, what's going on there? What's happening over there, man? Curious what's going on over there. I like that look. Okay, so it's been pretty good practice. This is a decent sheet of work. I like it. You know, there's definitely room to grow. So, but I think it's going to be very important for me to get some hours in, some minutes in of just drawing before I get into class with everybody, so that I don't feel like I'm completely out of my depth. I need some level of comfort with my own drawing skills, so that I don't feel like, I'm catching up. I'm trying to catch up the whole time. I don't want that to be the way, and I can tell from the skill level of many of the people in the class that we're going to have a great time, and we're going to be pushing the envelope of what we're accustomed to doing, and the caliber of work that we're going to come away with, So I want to give myself the best opportunity possible to take this opportunity, and make the most of it. I don't want to miss out because I wasn't willing to put in a little extra time, a little extra effort ahead of time to feel comfortable and confident, and get some of the work, like this kind of work, trying to do this once the class has started, would make me feel like I hadn't prepped. I hadn't really given myself as much opportunity to be successful and make the most of the content. And it's a horrible feeling. I have experienced it many times, and I just don't want to do that. Class is really valuable. Plus, when I get into it, I'm also getting my teaching licensure, so it's not like I won't have homework and other classes to be doing. So anything I can do right now while there's nothing pressing, and we're on holiday break, I think now is a good time for me to get in there and do some stuff. So yeah, pretty cool. It's pretty cool little page of drawings. We'll keep on improving, keep on going with it, but thank you so much. If you tuned in and watched, I really appreciate it. Maybe you can keep watching my progress. I will try to post my work that I'm doing for this class as much as I can. Just hop on to a live stream. I've got no schedule or plan yet. I know the beginning is January 22nd. And I'm also documenting. I'm just doing this really for myself. I don't have a lot of people that follow me live yet, but I just want to have a little bit of a record of how much I'm growing. So this is what I'm at. Basically a couple of weeks before class starts, few weeks before class starts, this is where I'm at. And we'll see as the countdown to January 22nd goes, if I can make any progress here and feel a little bit more confident. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it, and hope you have a great day. And now I've got to turn it off.